Hi, welcome again to the Digital Boardroom. My name is Iver van Zand, SAP Belux, and I'm using my laptop for the moment, so not the three screens, but I wanted to share this experience with you. On the screen, you see the high-level agenda with tappable icons which bring you to individual dashboards or subject matters covering digital core and HANA platform, workforce engagement, supplier networks, customer experience, and IoT. And on my left hand screen, you see a company performance overview composing of a number of elements like financial performance, my pipeline on my top right hand side. I have a heat map with what we see in terms of visitors exactly at Sapphire now, my spending drop downs, and some workforce analytics elements. On my left hand side, I have color coded notifications and alerts which immediately bring me to the actions that I need to go. On my lower left hand side, I have my real-time connection to, for example, Twitter. On the third right hand screen, I have a real-time online connection to Reuters market info elements showing my performance against competitors with benchmarked market news. So very important, this connection is real time with a plugin towards the Reuters market data. Let's go back to the agenda and start exploring in a nutshell this dashboard. Let's tap the customer experience section, which brings me to this page. As you can see, I have an overview of all my leads and pipeline renewals and sales capacity, and I have detailed information regarding my bookings forecast. Any element I can tick and open in the Explorer for further analysis, slicing and dicing, or filtering. As you can see, if I want to have a look at it, for example, per industry, I just tap that and I have the overview per industry, can narrow it down just by selecting areas or setting up the filters. I can also change the graphs on the fly. Going back to my original customer dashboard, as said, I have this functionality for further drill down until the transactional detail in real time and any graph you see on the screen. If I tick the details for the bookings forecast, you will see that I can not only open that in Explorer, but I can also have the predictive details embedded to this overview. Over here you see the results of the predictive model running with this digital boardroom, showing my top 5 value drivers per forecast impact. Yeah, where I can easily see that, for example, the service capacity has a value driver of 11% towards the forecast being generated on my left hand side of the screen. If I tap the server capacity influencer in the predictive model, this brings me to this page, giving me more detailed about that specific indicator. I can see the utilization on my top left hand side of the relevant infrastructure. I also see the infrastructure budget and the vendors of our infrastructure overviewed over here. The workforce situation is being displayed to run the infrastructure, as well as the data center usage is above the critical red line. If I tap the right hand screen, I get more detail on the usage, server capacity, data centers and countries visually displayed in the world on an SV map. Going back to the middle, I can see that my data usage is already above the threshold of 80%, so I might want to share that with my colleagues. I'm tapping the collaboration section. I will discuss the collaboration methodology later on, the functionality in the digital boardroom. Just also want to point you out that I can immediately go into planning mode if I want to adjust the planning given the data center usage. That brings me to this decomposition, and if I want to simulate the planning, I simply tap the slider. I can immediately see the results. If I go back to my center screen, I can see the adjustments in the planning being reflected as simulation in my current revenue, operating income and operating margin. This is a very remarkable result. Let us go back to the initial agenda of the application. I'm tapping the home button and want to have a look at the heat map for the number of visitors during Sapphire now. See how easy I can adjust the detailed level of the heat map with just a simple slider, seeing exactly who is where and doing what. This heat map is being driven by our IoT sensors that we placed in the different areas of the Sapphire rooms. The connection is real time and the heat map shows us exactly where the visitors are in the rooms, in the event launch rooms. Going back to the agenda and having a look at the SAP HANA platform section of the agenda. Another stunning overview showing me the central monitor for everything that's regarded infrastructure in progress, solved issues, completely visually displayed. If I go to the right hand screen, I get more detail. But another great feature is this little icon above over here. If I tap that, I can change my view from central monitor to systems overview and also, for example, the health checks. Tapping the health checks brings me to a health check dashboard, KPI tile driven, where I can have a look at the different KPIs and have a look, for example, if I tap this one, going into detail, and I can see all the single details per application. Over here, I see an overview of my different systems, color-coded, which one runs well and which one should be supervised or have a look at. For example, this corporate ERP data, if I tick that, I immediately get a visualized overview of all the systems it affects or is connected to. Let us go back to the core agenda. In the next session, I will go in a way more detailed overview of this stunning dashboard. This session was just to give you a brief glimpse overview of what we currently can do with real-time insights using the digital boardroom, allowing you to have access to every single detail online in real time and completely consolidated, so not summarized, but with consolidated data. Thank you for your attention.